Hi there, my name's Jorge. I grew up in the 80s and I used to love getting into trouble. I have always been a friend of felines. I take my faith very seriously, attending school at a Christian college, and I've been a music fan my entire life, only recently finding out that I really like extreme metal, and I want to invite you to journey with me on my discovery of extreme metal. What is up, folks? Welcome back to A Christian Collects Death Metal. It's your pal Jorge here, back at you with another video. Thanks for stopping by. Once again, welcome back. My friends, today we will be discussing, once again, Pissgrave. Now, if you haven't seen my first video where I talk about the mystery and genius behind Pissgrave, I'll leave a link in the description. Run over, check that out. This video is specifically, but not entirely, related to discussing, explaining the backstories behind these gruesome, God-forsaken album covers that Pissgrave has put out. Along the way, we're going to rank Pissgrave's 4 albums, including the demo. We got a lot to get to. Let's go. Before we get started, I kind of touched on this on my other video, but I want to do some better explaining. At least in my opinion, Pissgrave, as we all know, has a very unique sound. A signature sound that is uniquely, distinctly theirs. And some of us, will hit on a few of the aspects. There are at least 4 aspects that define Pissgrave's signature sound. And I think that, number 1, we all know, the vocals. The double-mic'd, reverb-soaked vocals. Very unique. I've seen it replicated in a few places. Horse Butcher, I'm thinking, is one. So that's the first aspect. Number 2 is the raw production. That's the other common thing that I hear. It's not a clean production that is normal for death metal. I think, and I think other people agree as well. Number 3 is constant tremolo picking. In every Pissgrave song, it is constant tremolo. That's what it is. They're doing some other stuff too, obviously, but one thing that is right there in everything, in every song, on every album, is tremolo picking. And I'm not talking about I always refer to it as the open chord, and it's only because I've ever heard Fenris of Dark Throne explain it that way, where it's, the typical tremolo style of black metal is sort of this open chord, right? So in death metal, it's more of like this fuzzy, sort of thing, and that's what I'm talking about here. And number 4 is another thing involving the guitar. I'm not musically inclined. I don't know these musical terms, but it's this, I assume it's this constant up and down of the fretboard where the sound is like, it's constant up and down with these guitars, just in tremolo, but it's like, it's just constant up and down to where you can never fully get acclimated to the sound. It's almost like purposely disorienting, which is also comes along with the album covers as well. But maybe somebody can help me understand, what is this constant up and down with the guitar that we're hearing? Is that the fretboard? Just this, it's constant in every Pissgrave song on every Pissgrave album. Those 4 aspects, in my opinion, define the Pissgrave signature sound. Let me know if I'm wrong. Did I miss something? Let me know. I'm curious to hear what you think. So in the process of ranking these albums from least favorite to favorite, now look, all of these albums are S tier in my opinion. I could film this tomorrow and these would probably be rearranged differently, but today I'm starting with the demo. But like I was saying, in the course of doing these rankings, that's where we're also going to discuss these awful, god-awful album covers. So yeah, we have the demo right here. you know that I'm not allowed to show this cover. I could get in trouble. I can show two of the other ones. This is one that I most definitely cannot show, but it most certainly is that. So we have the demo, and why it's coming in least favorite, and that's actually kind of harsh because I love this so much. It's a ton of fun to listen to. This is Pissgrave at their earliest, and what you have here, Pissgrave is known for this sort of raw production by Art Risk. We all know this. But with the demo, you have something that's even more primitive, and it gives it, in my opinion, this sort of dissonant sound that sounds like a really crummy produced cassette tape. It is about the best way that I can explain it. I hate to use the word cavernous, but it's sort of along those lines. It's just very dissonant, and it gives it a unique sound that's quite a bit distinct and apart from the other albums. The other cool thing about the demo is that we have two songs that are exclusive and unique to the demo that you won't find on any other album. Those two songs are Desolate Humiliation, wow, Hallucination. So on side B, you have Desolate, Hallucination, and also Sadistic Telepathy. Now, everything on side A is stuff that would later come up on the debut, which I'm going to refer as Euphoria for the remainder of this video. On side B, you have the one and only song that is from the sophomore album, Posthumous Humiliation, Rusted Wind. It's a great version of that song. In fact, that's what I featured during the first segment, the warning segment of this video. But these two songs are very interesting, and I don't know why that they didn't choose to use them on the other albums. Maybe they just wanted to leave them on the demo. That way it would add a bit of, an element of exclusivity to the demo itself. But as far as the album cover goes, there are two photos associated with this crime scene. It's not really a crime scene. It features a guy, you've all seen it, who is in a bathtub, and this gentleman is in a bathtub, and he's doing the thing seemingly with the rope, right? It's incredibly heartbreaking. It's a touchy subject. It is what it is. So the other photo is quite a bit different, and it's actually kind of telling because it tells a different story. The other photo, I would encourage you guys not to look this up. It's just awful. It's everything you can imagine, plus some. The other photo features the same guy. There is no rope, and instead of obviously being hoisted up, there's no rope. He's just sort of slumped over down in the bathtub. Now, from what I can find during my research, there are two theories. One is that this guy just had a heart attack, right, in the bathtub. And it was a while later, a couple weeks before he was discovered, and he was so far gone that the only way they could get him up out of there was to take some rope and sort of hoist him up out of there, right? Which is weird, because if you're going to do that, why wouldn't you have something to come up underneath your, chest and up under here, unless this stuff from here down is so far gone that it just wouldn't do that, and so they had to go by the neck. The other theory is that, yes, what we're looking at on the demo is what's happening. This guy got in a bathtub and for whatever reason was able to affix rope to something above, and unfortunately decided to leave on his own terms. The other photo would be them cutting the rope and then, dealing with it from there. I think that Pissgrave purposely chose this photo for the demo because it looks like the guy did the thing, right? Which is a running theme with Pissgrave, and I'm going to talk about this more at the end of the video, why they go with these album covers, why this is normally a gore grind thing, you know, Last Days of Humanity, Dead Infection. I guess there are some outliers like Bruguera, but yeah, why go with these? I think number one, I'm going to talk about it more, but every album cover features someone who decided to go out on their own terms. That is one of the main running themes of Pissgrave. Coming in third place, right after the demo, as far as ranking, would be their sophomore album, Posthumous Humiliation. I love this album so much. Like I said, tomorrow it might be number one. I am such a fan of everything on this album. The album opener, Euthanasia, probably the perfect... I think I like that more than Perpetual War, the opener on Euphoria. Rusted Wind, it's a great... I was going to say cleaned up version, more so than the demo, and that's true, but it's quite an upgrade in production, but it's still that raw Pissgrave sound. This album cover is the only other one that I'm not able to show. Y'all know what it looks like. It's a face that's been rearranged. So there are several photos associated with this. I would encourage you not to look it up, any of these, but from what I can gather, it is a... First of all, let me say this. If you look at the album cover, and I'm talking about what's behind the black sleeve, it's upside down. If you actually turn it right side up, then you'll get a better understanding. Pissgrave do this sort of thing where they purposely try to disorient and sort of confuse people. They do that in their sound, in their songs, and in their album covers. It's a thing that they purposely do, right? So if you turn it right side up, you will see the gentleman, and what it looks like is a self-inflicted shot, a shoddy, you know, wound. This is incredibly grim. I'm going to explain at the end my best theory why they go for these album covers. I think it's a good explanation. But yeah, you can see the entry point right here. Everything from here to the top of the front bottom teeth is just grazed, and then it catches on the roof of the mouth and kind of blows the top half off to the side. So yeah, that is the best explanation, the best speculation that I can see people are offering online. There's not a lot of detail about this album cover, but it does look like that. Looks like another guy who just decided to go out, unfortunately, on his own terms. It's awful. It is what it is. Moving on. And coming in number two of my, least favorite to favorite. They're all my favorite, right? But, you know, we have Euphoria. This is the debut offering from Pissgrave. I am able to show this album cover. You know, people think that this is a bathtub. It's not that. What we're looking at is the tiled floor of the bathroom. It features a lady. Yeah, you know that on the inside here, there's another photo associated with the scene. There are probably 10 to 15 photos associated with this specific situation. It is a lady who decided to go out, unfortunately, on her own terms. It's incredibly sad and disheartening when anybody decides to do that. But yeah, so let's take it up top. In an effort to bring some humanization to this, to her, I'm going to show a before picture of her right here. It's incredibly sad. It's, you know, it's incredibly sad. Apparently this lady, this is the one album cover that has the most amount of coverage and detail surrounding it. She did the thing that people do sometimes with this area of their arm. She did that in a bathtub, but there was also, upon investigation, there was an element of electroshock. I don't know what the device was. some sort of hair dryer that was turned on. People, I don't know. There was some type of electroshock that maybe this way wasn't going quick enough. She threw something electrified in there. I don't know. That's what they said. She wasn't discovered until 2 weeks later, and that's what we're seeing. If you look at the other picture inside of the album cover, it shows someone that almost looks like hate to be so crude, but like a lumberjack sort of figure. No, that's this lady who's bloated, is in the later stages of decomposition, and yeah. So actually what we see on the cover is stuff that has sort of foamed over the top and into the floor, including I assume a femur bone. Incredibly grim. Incredibly grim. So let's move on to number 1. And coming in at number 1, my favorite Pissgrave album of all time. It could be different tomorrow, but today, yeah, this is so good. Malignant Worthlessness. It is such an album that is just, Pissgrave's final form. They are just, this sound is fully realized. This is them at their absolute peak of evolution, if you will. Everything is so good. It's incredibly good on here. My favorite tracks, Heaping Pile of Electrified Gore. They do this thing with the guitar that has an electrified feeling to it, where it's like, I don't know what he's doing there. Maybe somebody can explain. They do that also on, I think it's Second Sorrowful Mystery. It's a very similar sound, this sort of, this electric sort of slide. I don't know what they're doing on the guitar to make that sound. It is absolutely incredible. Interment Orgy, another one of my favorites. Ignominy, Putrefaction. This is a 10 out of 10. Guys, these albums, every one is just S tier in my opinion. It's just some of the best death metal that I've ever heard. This was my introduction to Pissgrave. I remember hearing the first single, Heretic Blood Christened, and before listening to any more, I thought, let me hold up. Let me start where it all began. And so I grabbed the demo, lucked out on that one. And yeah, so the demo was my first true exposure, listening to a Pissgrave album from start to finish, right? And then I would later come back and revisit this. And I love this so much. This is my favorite. This is the one album cover that nobody knows anything about. I assume over time, give us some time, people will figure it out. But from what I can discern, the cassette is a little more telling, right? Like I said, Pissgrave do stuff purposely to disorient and to confuse. And this photo is blown up. It's grainy. It has a fuzzy look to it. It doesn't look right. So I think what is going on here is I probably better not show the cassette. I was going to unfold the J card, but it's a gentleman or someone who is essentially laying face down like this. Right, so they're laying on top of this arm across their body because we see this hand is skeletized. There's nothing, it's just bone right here, right? So he's laid down like this. We're seeing this yellow part of his shoulder blade. I assume that's what that is. It's just, somebody in the later stages, obviously, of decomposition. Yeah. And I think it's a good time to discuss why they're using these album covers. Why death metal? Nobody else really does this. Maybe you can list a few outliers in the comments, but this is Pissgrave's thing. And I think why is not because they're trying to be edgelords or, there is an element of shock to it for sure. But I think that is in keeping in step with the message that they're trying to bring, and that is one of misanthropy, sort of hopelessness. You know, even I, as a Christian, it don't take much looking around in the world before I'm like, wow, it's pretty messed up around here. I get it. I get it. It's incredibly disheartening. All the stuff on the news. It's just, it almost gives you a sense of hopelessness and even worthlessness. I believe obviously in hope. But that is one of the main themes in Pissgrave is hopelessness. It's just an outcry against humankind, in my opinion, from what I can gather. I haven't talked to any of the band. They are so closed off, they wouldn't probably say anyway. But that's just my speculation. I think it's an indictment against mankind as a whole. And so they're using these album covers just to say, hey, this is us, front and center. Yeah. Like I said, it is what it is. I can relate to it. Just, one of these days maybe I'll do a video on my own personal backstory, which is fairly grim and what have you. Maybe we'll do that sometime. But, I can relate, dude. I get it. And maybe that's why I love these albums so much, is because I get it. I get it. So, guys, there you have it. There's my simple, humble album ranking, as well as album cover backstories explained to the best of my ability. Let me know in the comments exactly what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think of Pissgrave? Let me know in the comments below. Jorge, a Christian who collects death metal, signing off. Be blessed.